Okay, so now we are reacting to Sergio Kitchens. Sergio Kitchens, as you know, is a high-ranking YSL member, and he pled.
Hey, now with my nigga Gunna's name being Sergio. Hold on, we gonna backtrack on that.
That's not a Sergio.
Sergio Kitchens.
It is?
Sergio Kitchens, that's crazy. The last name, I see a lot of Kitchens. You know what I mean? I think I know a couple Kitchens.
I got one right here.
But bro, they got kitchen stove. But bruh, this nigga's name is Sergio. Alright, pause.
That's different.
Guilty yesterday in open court, and then he was released from jail. So let's talk about what a plea is first. A plea is when you all of a sudden say, hey look, I'm guilty. There's two parts to a plea. There's a waiver of your rights because you have a right to a trial, and there's a whole bunch of rights. You have a right to testify, cross-examine witnesses, blah blah blah. So you have to waive all those rights first. Then there's what's called a factual basis, and that's what we're going to show you here. Factual basis, that's where you have to admit that you committed a crime. You cannot enter a plea and not admit that you did something wrong. So let's see what the judge has to say, and the prosecutor.
That's tough.
Please state after each statement whether or not you agree or acknowledge that the statements are true, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is the factual basis.
So technically, like, on the plea deal, like, the shit is kind of sad because you had to admit that you're guilty in order to escape the deal and take the plea. Like, that shit is sad. Because initially, like, you don't know if they could still fuck you, like, down the road on stipulations or anything. Like,
So basically, you got to admit to what you're doing or what you did. That makes you guilty.
I became affiliated with YSL around 2016. Is that true as it pertains to you, Mr. Kitchens?
Yes, ma'am.
He became affiliated, so he all of a sudden acknowledges YSL as a gang.
YSL is a music label and a gang, and you have personal knowledge that members or associates of YSL have committed crimes in furtherance of the gang.
Yes, ma'am.
So he admitted not only that YSL is a music label, but it's also a gang, and that he and others committed crimes in furthering.
Would you do that?
take a plea?
Mm-hmm.
That shit, you have to be on, like, one accord with, like, all of your friends to take that plea. Because it's been done. Like, necessarily taking the plea is not snitching, but it just, like, I don't know, it just depends on, like, the circumstances. Because you see with, like, Bobby Shmurda and, like, you know, in his clique, like, they all took plea deals. But they all didn't snitch and tell on each other. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, it was like, you know, when they was trying to say, like, Bobby Shmurda was going to do, like, less time than Rowdy. But, you feel me, he copped the plea and didn't say nothing. And then on the plea deal, they each got 6 years or something like that. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's certain little shit and stipulations to where it's like, if you cop a plea deal, it's not snitching. But you technically, like, admitting to shit and taking the plea deal by yourself, I don't know. But that's kind of like, I don't know, just raises red flags because a lot of people don't know the laws. So we gonna assume before we, you feel me?
Yep.
Before we figure this shit out for real.
Yeah, let's see what he says.
That's crazy.
Of YSL.
You were present when law enforcement officers stopped the vehicle in which you were present along with Jeffrey Williams, wherein hydrocodone, methamphetamines, and a firearm were recovered. These items did not belong to you.
Yes, ma'am.
So, you were with Young Thug when you had some drugs and guns in the car. Oh, and by the way, none of that shit was yours, right? Okay. Oh, who says it? Oh, I guess it must have been the other guy. Fucking A.
I recognize, accept, and deeply regret that my talent and music indirectly furthered YSL the gang to the detriment of my community. YSL as a gang must end. Is that your statement or acknowledgement?
Yes.
YSL's The Gang Must End. I deeply regret. First of all, that you don't need that for a plea. She wanted that for some reason. That's the prosecutor that's standing up talking right now. There's been a lot of talk in the Twitter sphere and the atmosphere and the cybersphere about whether or not Gunna is snitching. Well, they got a trial coming up, and now.
How did I become the first man in history to get exactly what kind of ring is part of?
He just admitted it.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie to you. That's crazy.
It's just like, I don't know. We gonna have to figure out on the trial. Cause that is some wild shit for him to say that. Like, damn. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, did you admit that YSL is a gang and you regret joining and blah, 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 blah?
He said yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Whoa.
in open court all these different things. Now, Gunna's lawyer, if you look on here, it says Gunna did not snitch to get out of jail. He has said nothing and is not cooperating. He just admitted in open court. His plea statement cannot be used in court against any other defendant. Not true. So please stop spreading lies. Let's just break this down, because people want to know if he's a snitch or not. I can honestly tell you that I don't know if he's snitching or not. His lawyer says he's not cooperating, but that's what he's going to say. You wouldn't have any document to show that he's cooperating. But can his statement be used against somebody else in their trial? Well, let's analyze that. Unless there's a specific agreement to not have that be used in another person's trial, it can be. Why can't it be? Because it's an admission against penal interest. That is not hearsay. Otherwise, it would be a hearsay statement. But when you make a statement under oath and you inculpate yourself, that means you point the finger at yourself that you did something wrong. That's a statement against interest. That is not hearsay, and that absolutely can be used in a trial against Young Thug. Now, these are extremely serious charges. Kitchens was released from jail on Wednesday, that's yesterday, and his lawyer said he's been held without bail in advance of trial, which is supposed to start in January. This guilty plea was an important development in one of the two sprawling Atlanta criminal cases targeting prosecutors say are a pair of feuding gangs that have committed dozens of shootings and other violent crimes since 2015. Further says that Kitchens entered an Alford plea, which allows defendants to maintain their innocence while pleading guilty.
Never know who you see.
So here's the plea agreement. I agreed to perform 500 hours of community service, a substantial portion of which will require that I speak to young men and women about the hazards and the immorality of gangs and gang violence and the decay that it causes in our community. I agree that the community service locations shall be determined by the office, blah, blah, blah. I will possess no guns during the term of this sentence or at any time, and he got 5 years commuted down to 1 for time served. So he's out and doesn't have to do any more time. Then you have the acknowledgments that we just saw. And if he violates the plea agreement,
they say he got time served for a year. So he's really getting let go. Like no house arrest, no nothing. Like he's just let go.
Like say you gotta do a year, and he's good.
But he's time served because he was already locked down during the whole investigation.
Damn. So he's out now. I wonder if he's gonna drop. He's gonna drop a song. He's in Busta R. Kelly and just fucking be like,
bruh. And I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are gonna still be behind Gunna, especially like a lot of the females are gonna be behind Gunna.
You think so?
You know, he didn't. He had like a street reputation and shit, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, this is the thing.
Can and will.
Okay.
This is the thing. I forgot who said it. Oh, Lil Duval said it. Nobody can call him a snitch unless he says it himself. If he don't say it himself, he ain't snitch. What if it's a plan that they got? What if it's something that they got that they know there's certain steps to it, and they got a plan
to where they could both get out, but they just like this is this the way.
This the way.
We that's why I'm saying like if out. Because if y'all co-defendants and y'all both taking a plea, there has to be some type of agreement. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like the lawyer is going to be doing some back and forth between both of them to make sure that. So damn, that shit is crazy, honestly.
Yeah.
You gotta see how it plays out.
Use the statement during any judicial proceedings. Any violation of this plea agreement shall result in full revocation of his suspended sentence. So he's got, I think, 5 years hanging over his head. So people are talking about whether he's a snitch or not. Whether he's a snitch or not, we won't know until Thug's trial. Actually, we might know just a little bit before that because my guess is that if he did snitch, the state would have to disclose that and disclose the witness's statement shortly before trial. But it isn't going to be much before trial because he would have a target on his back, no question in my mind, if he decides to snitch. But here's the other thing. Whether Gunna's a snitch or not, fuck that. Who cares? Because there's 20 other people or 27 other people who are charged in this indictment, right? And so I guarantee you that snitches are going to be coming out of the woodwork. Whether Gunna is snitching or not is sort of immaterial because I guarantee you they have more than one snitch. Their case will not just be based upon Gunna's word and Gunna's word alone. They're going to have corroboration through cell phone, through text messages, through evidence seized in searches, and snitch testimony. Now, his trial is supposed to start on January 5th. So the timing of the new charges and the timing of the plea for Gunna is kind of you can kind of read into it where they're going with this. So if you remember, NBA YoungBoy came up with a plan to get out of jail and an elaborate security plan and curfew and all that kind of stuff. In June, Young Thug did the same thing, but the judge denied his bond and an elaborate house arrest plan. Several factors were taken into consideration, including a threat introduced to the court attributed to Williams from 2015 that states anybody goes into courtroom and tells the God's honest truth, they'll be fucking killed. That's probably a pretty good reason to keep him in custody, don't you think? When you have a situation, this is high profile
and
as it gets
crazy.
in this kind of gang.
Nigga, young boy said, "Nigga, you already know." Come with that. But then that's fucked up. He said over 20 people is indicted in this, bro. Like, that's crazy. So, yeah, 27. 27. That's a big number.
How do you, bro? It's like
the whole gang.
block.
They came and got the whole apartment building. The whole gang.
The whole
they got
apartments.
everybody. They got Lil Jamal, Ray. That's fucked up. When it comes down to it.
Damn.
They got the plug. Probably got El Chapo. They was getting their shit from. That shit just fucked up because, just like he said, there's always going to be more snitches and more people to come out the woodworks with this shit. So
yeah,
we just always got to see how it plays out. But Gunna, he basically not only gets like a little slap on the wrist, but that's kind of his way out. So you got to
really
kind of see what everybody says about that.
He really didn't snitch on nobody. He said, yeah, I did this. Oh, he did say no.
But it was, when like the car situation
he said no.
with Jeffrey Williams, he said that shit wasn't mine. So at the same time, like, but Thug said that wasn't his too. So I don't know. It just depends. That shit is wild. Let's finish this video, bro.
And it is, if you look at getting out with a slap on the wrist, essentially, I don't know how he's not snitching. Now, I don't want to start spreading rumors and, have all my fans say Gunna's a snitch, because I don't know that he's a snitch. It sort of smells like snitch, though. But we'll find out within the next few weeks whether he's snitching or not. His lawyer was right in one aspect. You generally can't admit a statement of a co-defendant against another without the co-defendant being present. And we'll have to see whether the Fulton County goes with the exception that I talked about.
Seen him in the courtroom.
If they don't, if it's just Thug and Gunna in the car, who's going to testify about what? And now there's an admission on the record that it wasn't Gunna's. So the implication is that it's Young Thug's. So we'll have to see what's going to happen here. We'll follow this in depth, but it's really interesting that he took this plea basically on the eve of trial. I think that he was feeling the heat, and they offered him a pretty good deal. But how this doesn't involve snitching, generally speaking, they don't let people out to snitch. But they might have had a weaker case against Gunna, and that could also be a very valid reason why they agreed to do the plea the way they did. So we'll follow this. Make sure you go to Bonfire. Don't forget.
Crazy. Honestly, bro, I'm going with it's mine. I'm sticking with it. They have a plan. They know what they're doing. It's all I think they communicated already know the plan. Gunna's gonna get out, and now they got somebody that's not in jail. Now it's 27, not 28 people. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
we can have access to his money and shit back on the streets.
To everything
too. So,
you know what I mean? So now it's like, boom, he can work when he gets out here better than inside there. You know?
You're going to have to move low on the super low profile, but at the same time, like, you can start getting, you know what I mean, all those assets, all that wealth you have missed, all the shows you missed, like, start picking back up on that because, man, that was big. Like think about how much money they've missed out over the time of them just being locked up. Like how many checks they haven't been able to collect in shows and clubs. That's just crazy. So, fuck, we're just going to have to see how it plays out, bro.
But for real, and like I said it, this also, you can't say Gunna's a snitch until Young Thug says it.
Facts.
They're the ones that are in court. Why are you trying to make his decision for him?
Facts, yep. That's true.